So if you want to keep a small plane in the sky over Colorado in 2026, you actually don't just need a pilot's
Right.
license.
Not even close.
Yeah, you need like a dedicated legal defense fund,
Yeah.
a backup paper map for your supercomputer. And this is wild, the willingness to stand up in front of your peers and publicly admit your most dangerous mistakes.
It really shatters that whole romantic illusion we all have, doesn't
Oh,
it?
totally.
Like when you look up from your backyard and see a Cessna cruising over the Rockies, it looks like pure, effortless freedom.
Just escaping the daily grind.
Exactly. The ultimate escape.
But stepping behind the curtain into the actual world of local aviation, it reveals something far more demanding. So today we are bringing you a behind-the-scenes look at this vibrant, really highly active ecosystem. We're pulling our insights directly from the July 2026 edition of CPA Flightlines, which is the official newsletter of the Colorado Pilots Association. And our mission for this deep dive is to uncover exactly what it takes to keep this community airborne. We are going to explore the hidden hurdles, the intense preparation, and, the ultimate rewards of navigating those skies.
Yeah, and the visual backdrop for our deep dive today, it actually perfectly captures the dichotomy we are about to discuss.
Okay.
Well, the cover is this stunning view of a snow-capped mountain range framed perfectly by the aluminum wing of a small airplane.
Oh, wow. Sounds gorgeous.
It's totally serene, but then the CPA Flightlines newsletter serves as this harsh reality check. It just details the sheer amount of civic, financial, and mental friction required just to get those tires off the runway.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before a pilot can even think about navigating a gorgeous mountain pass, they need a piece of pavement.
Right. You need a runway.
Exactly. And reading through the opening column by CPA President Andy Holmes, the primary focus isn't on weather or aerodynamics at all.
No, it's not.
It's entirely focused on the politics and the economics of airport access. Securing the runway is literally half the battle.
Yeah, advocacy is like the invisible headwind every pilot faces before they even pre-flight the aircraft. For instance, Holmes highlights the ongoing friction at Longmont Airport.
Right.
The CPA feels a specific member of the local city council has been unfairly portraying the pilot community.
And just to be clear, we are simply reporting what's in the source material here.
Yeah.
We certainly aren't taking a side in Longmont's local municipal politics.
Of course not. But the mechanics of this kind of municipal friction are just fascinating.
Oh, for sure.
Airports occupy massive swaths of really valuable municipal land, and, well, they generate noise.
Right, which people complain about.
Exactly. So when city councils face pressure for residential development, local aviation communities often find themselves fighting to justify their very existence.
Yeah, it really illustrates a stark reality for you, the listener. The aviation community has to operate as a perpetual PR firm.
Constantly.
They are constantly pushing for constructive dialogue just to maintain a positive standing in their own towns.
Yep.
And that political friction at the municipal level, it translates directly into aggressive economic friction at other locations like Centennial Airport.
Yeah, the situation Holmes outlines at Centennial is a perfect example of how fragile airport access can be.
It's crazy.
So the Denver Jet Center, which operates hangars there, they doubled their rates virtually overnight.
Just doubled them.
Wow. Yep. According to the CPA, this happened with zero stakeholder input and no prior explanation given to the tenants who, actually house their aircraft there.
I mean, let's think about the mechanics of that kind of price hike. It's not like an apartment building where you can just rent a moving truck and find a cheaper place across town.
Right. You can't exactly park a plane on the street.
No. General aviation operates in a totally captive market. It's like if your local gym suddenly doubled your membership fee overnight without warning and then expected you to just keep paying to access your own locker.
That's a great way to put it.
You can't just build another gym in your backyard. The financial goalposts are moved and you are trapped.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you see exactly why the CPA is sounding the alarm here.
Yeah.
Holmes makes a really strategic argument. He says this isn't just a localized, isolated dispute between a few wealthy aircraft owners and a business at Centennial.
It's bigger than that.
Much bigger. He warns of a dangerous precedent. If unreasonable access practices and massive unannounced fee hikes are allowed to stand unchallenged at one major public airport,
then what stops the others from doing it?
exactly. It signals to other airport sponsors and operators across the entire state that they can implement similar practices.
Which explains the massive call to action in the newsletter. The CPA is literally asking its members to financially support the Centennial Airport Pilots Association, CPA, in a legal effort to protect fair access.
Yeah, being a pilot today means actively funding legal battles just to keep a roof over your airplane.
It's wild. The discipline required to mobilize a legal defense fund is the exact same discipline required to keep the aircraft flying safely.
You have to fight for the ground to dictate who gets to fight the elements in the air.
And speaking of the air, those physical elements are becoming increasingly complex.
Oh, definitely.
Moving from the political battles to the infrastructural realities, the newsletter places a huge emphasis on adapting to the environment. Holmes issues a very stark warning about summer wildfires in Colorado.
Yeah, smoke fundamentally alters the cognitive load of a flight.
Right.
The newsletter notes that smoke is contributing to widespread MVFR and IFR conditions at multiple airports, which, dramatically reduces visibility and obscures terrain.
Okay, I want to push back on that slightly, or at least explore it a bit deeper.
Yeah.
Because a lot of pilots fly in IFR conditions all the time when there are clouds or rain. So is wildfire smoke really that much more dangerous than a standard overcast layer?
It actually is. The insidious nature of smoke is how it completely deceives the human eye.
Really? How so?
Well, unlike a distinct cloud layer where you clearly transition from visual conditions into the soup, smoke creates a gradient. It affects what's called slant range visibility. So when you looked straight down out the window, the ground might look perfectly clear.
Oh, I see.
But as you look forward toward the horizon or, toward a mountain past the particulate matter compounds scattering the light,
That makes sense.
so you can slowly lose your visual references without even realizing it until you are completely trapped in a blinding haze, flying toward terrain you cannot see.
Wow, which is terrifying in a mountainous state like Colorado.
Absolutely terrifying.
No wonder Holmes tells his members they have to establish and strictly adhere to really conservative personal minimums.
Yeah.
He's asking pilots to look at conditions that might technically be legal to fly in and just willingly ground themselves.
It demands an extreme level of self-regulation. But the environmental hazards are actually compounded by severe infrastructural strain, too.
Yeah, the newsletter highlights a highly concerning NOTAM regarding the Colorado Air and Spaceport, which is KCFO. And here's where it gets really interesting and honestly a bit surreal. We are talking about a facility branded as a spaceport.
Right, a spaceport.
Yet, according to the CPA, due to severe staffing shortages, they are down to just 2 available air traffic controllers.
2 for the whole facility.
2. Because of this, the tower operates at ATC 0 status every Saturday and Sunday, and after 6:00 p.m. on weekdays. Wait, really? A spaceport doesn't have enough staff to operate its control tower on a weekend.
It sounds absurd, doesn't it?
Isn't a control tower without controllers just an incredibly expensive architectural ornament?
Pretty much. I mean, it highlights a massive vulnerability in the National Airspace System in 2026. The controller shortage isn't exactly a new issue, but seeing it force a major regional facility into ATC 0 on weekends is a glaring symptom of the strain.
Yeah.
However, the system is designed with fail-safes. When that tower closes, KCFO just reverts to uncontrolled airspace.
Right. So what does that mean for the pilots?
The pilots rely entirely on the CTAF, the Common Traffic Advisory Frequency, to self-announce their positions and build a mental map of the traffic pattern.
Oh, wow. So you have pilots navigating dense, high-performance aircraft traffic, potentially dealing with degraded slant-range visibility from wildfire smoke, all while constantly managing the radios to coordinate their own sequencing.
Yep.
Without an air traffic controller sequencing them.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is the sheer volume of data the pilot must process simultaneously.
Sounds exhausting.
It is. When a tower is operating, the controller assumes the cognitive burden of separation. They tell you who to follow and when to turn.
Right. They guide you.
But at ATC 0, you are the pilot, the navigator, and your own air traffic controller.
Wow.
You are listening to a half-dozen other pilots on the frequency, estimating their speed and altitude relative to yours, all while physically flying the plane.
So you are your own safety net.
100%.
And to maintain that level of self-reliance, you need impeccable tools. Which brings us to the CPA's massive toolkit updates for 2026. Because navigating complex, smoky, uncontrolled skies requires constant technological evolution.
Yeah, and the CPA is attacking this from both an analog and a digital front.
Okay, tell me about the analog first.
Well, they announced the release of the 2026 Colorado Airport Directory and Aeronautical Chart, which is produced by the CDOT Division of Aeronautics.
Nice.
This new physical chart features 20 charted mountain passes, phase 2 of 10 new mountain pass VFR GPS waypoints, and 25 updated aerial images.
Plus, they are running their highly anticipated mountain flying and high elevation airport operations courses in August and September.
Yep, essential training.
But so what does this all mean? We are in 2026. Every pilot has a tablet mounted in the cockpit with live weather, synthetic vision, and GPS. Why is there a massive celebration over the release of a printed physical chart?
Because redundancy is the absolute core of aviation safety.
Redundancy, right.
Think about it. Tablets overheat when exposed to direct sunlight through a canopy.
Oh, true.
Batteries fail. GPS signals suffer from localized interference. And a mountain pass isn't just a line drawn on a map. It represents complex fluid dynamics.
Wait, fluid dynamics? Like water?
Exactly like water. The wind acts like water flowing over a saddle, creating severe updrafts and downdrafts. You can have a GPS waypoint loaded into your supercomputer, but if you don't understand the physical geography shown on that paper chart, the GPS will just efficiently guide you straight into a massive downdraft.
Yikes. So the paper chart doesn't crash, and it doesn't need a charger.
Precisely.
They are heavily focused on the transition to unleaded aviation fuels and next-generation aircraft technology.
Yeah, which is huge.
We know the industry has been grappling with the phase-out of leaded avgas for years, and the CPA is actively positioning its members for that infrastructural shift. They aren't clinging to legacy systems.
No, they're not. But the energy required to maintain this ecosystem is just staggering.
It really is.
Funding legal battles for hangars, studying the aerodynamics of mountain passes, beta testing web platforms, and managing ATC zero traffic patterns. It begs the question of what drives them to take on this much friction.
Well, the payoff. They fight city councils and navigate wildfire smoke so they can go on epic shared adventures.
True.
The From the Line section of the newsletter details their recent fly-ins, and the culture it reveals is incredible. Let's look at the Memphis fly-in.
Oh, that was a great trip.
You had 10 members who dealt with serious weather challenges, clouds, bumps, snow, rain, just to get there.
Yeah, the newsletter specifically notes they had to make smart IFR decisions.
Right.
In aviation, that often means recognizing when the freezing level is too low or convective activity is too high and actively choosing to divert or delay rather than push a bad situation. They definitely earned their arrival.
And their reward was scoring hangar space for just $25 a night.
Which is incredible.
Practically unheard of near a major metropolitan area. And they hit the ground running. Gus's world-famous fried chicken, watching the ducks march through the lobby at the Peabody Hotel, and taking a private tour of Sun's studio.
It sounds like a blast. But their travel extends beyond tourism into deep cultural immersion, too.
Yeah, they don't just do the tourist stuff.
Right. The newsletter highlights their visit to the National Civil Rights Museum, along with an unscheduled stop at the historic Claiborne Temple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that location served as the headquarters for the 1968 sanitation workers' I Am a Man strike, just prior to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. They leveraged their unique mobility to engage with American history in a very profound way.
Then you contrast the cultural depth of Memphis with the sheer geographic scale of the Grand Canyon fly-in.
Totally different vibe.
35 attendees from Colorado, Wisconsin, and California all converged at the Red Feather Lodge.
Operating an aircraft at the Grand Canyon introduces high elevation challenges, though.
Like?
Well, the density altitude profoundly affects aircraft performance. The air is thinner, meaning the wings generate less lift, the engine produces less power, and the propeller has less bite.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah. A takeoff roll that takes 1,000 feet at sea level might take 3,000 feet there. It requires precise calculation.
But once they manage the physics, they get to enjoy the community. They hiked the rims, dined on elk ragu, and visited the Yavapai Geological Museum.
Right.
And the newsletter mentions a staggering detail they learned there. The Colorado River dug that mile-deep canyon at an average rate of 1 sheet of paper's thickness per year.
That is just wild to think about. When a pilot who is hyper-aware of time, speed, and distance conceptualizes a geological process taking 6 million years, it provides a radical shift in perspective.
But the most revealing detail of the entire trip happened during happy hour.
Oh, this is the best part.
After hiking in the heat and exploring the canyon, what does this group of pilots do with their downtime? They grab their potluck appetizers and sit down for a presentation by Flying Committee Chair Bill Marvel about the 1956 TWA United mid-air collision over the Grand Canyon. They're literally sipping drinks while studying a morbid aviation disaster. What stands out to you about this group that is a very specific type of fun?
It really is. It seems macabre to an outsider, but studying accidents is the foundational bedrock of aviation safety.
Right.
Every regulation, every airspace redesign, and every communication protocol was written in response to tragedies like that 1956 collision. They study it because acknowledging the fatal consequences of complacency is how they stay alive.
Which perfectly transitions into the most critical part of this newsletter and honestly the defining trait of this entire community.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Absolutely.
Bill Marvel didn't just give a lecture on a historical accident. He penned a section in this newsletter literally titled Correcting My Error.
This raises an important question about what truly binds this community together. So, in a previous article published in April, Marvel wrote about the maintenance regulations surrounding experimental home-built aircraft.
Okay.
He stated that if an A&P inspector finds discrepancies during an annual condition inspection on an experimental aircraft, the owner is free to fix those problems themselves and return the aircraft to service.
But he spells out, in print, exactly why that advice was legally and mechanically wrong.
Exactly. The regulatory mechanics here are strict. Unless the owner of that experimental aircraft actually holds the specific repairman certificate for that exact plane, they cannot legally return it to service after a discrepancy is found by an inspector.
They have to have a certified mechanic.
Right. They need a certified mechanic to sign off on the fix. Bad information regarding federal aviation regulations can lead a pilot to inadvertently fly an aircraft that is unairworthy, voiding their insurance and risking their life.
And in so many other hobbies or professions, someone who made a technical error in a newsletter might just quietly issue a tiny erratum in the back pages, or ignore it entirely to save face.
Oh yeah, usually people just sweep it under the rug.
Right. But Marvel publishes a full, transparent retraction explaining the exact mechanism of his mistake.
The ego of the individual is entirely subordinate to the safety of the fleet. The trust required to fly in tight formation or to operate at a crowded, uncontrolled airport during ATC 0 is built on this exact type of radical transparency.
Right.
They hold each other accountable because gravity is unforgiving.
Gravity is definitely unforgiving.
Yeah.
And the momentum of this community just never stops. They are currently organizing a massive volunteer drive for the Oshkosh EAA AirVenture Convention in late July, partnering with CDOT Aeronautics to promote Colorado aviation to a global audience.
They are even optimizing how they experience joy, which I love.
Oh yeah, the Christmas in January thing.
Exactly. The newsletter outlines a strategic change for the 2027 season. Instead of their traditional planning meeting, they are launching a fly-in rollout meeting in January.
And they are intentionally keeping the upcoming destinations and hosts a secret to generate excitement for the membership.
Just building that anticipation.
I absolutely love that. So let's synthesize this entire ecosystem for you. Being truly well-informed about local aviation in 2026 means looking far beyond the romance of a small plane in a blue sky.
It's way more complicated than that.
It is a grinding, complex engine. It requires the civic stamina to fight city councils and fund legal battles for hangar space.
Yes.
It demands the mental discipline to calculate density altitude and navigate wildfire smoke using both supercomputers and paper maps. And it relies on a culture of absolute, ego-free accountability.
Well said. The adventures they take landing in Memphis for Gus's fried chicken or navigating the Grand Canyon are the hard-earned dividends of that extreme discipline.
Totally.
But it leaves you with a profound thought to ponder as we close. We've examined the severe infrastructural challenges outlined in this document. The control towers operating at ATC 0 due to staffing shortages, and the private monopolies skyrocketing the costs of public hangar space.
The system is under pressure from every side.
Exactly. As federal and municipal support strains under these pressures, will the future survival of local aviation rely entirely on the grassroots passion, the voluntary safety culture, and the self-funded legal defenses of local organizations like the CPA?
Wow.
Are we watching the privatization of aviation survival?
That is a heavy structural question, and it's definitely something to think about the next time you look up, see a pristine mountain range, and watch a small plane quietly crossing the sky, knowing exactly how much invisible effort it took to keep it there. Thank you so much for joining us in this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.